What is going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XLM to USD, as well as the current coin market cap, and an article posted by Cointelegraph called Bitcoin Price Manipulated Before Future Settlement Dates Research. Bunch of interesting things. We're going to more so specifically look at the current prices and see where exactly on charting we're going to go down to, because I think that's where everybody's head is right now. After this major dip, what are we expecting to see? So I want to give my 2 cents on everything. Otherwise, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and let's jump into today's episode. So guys, I want to start off with this article here talking about Bitcoin price being manipulated. So basically, to sum this up, it's saying that Bitcoin drops below or drops 75% of the time before, futures start to be released and start to expire. So in regards to the CME, the last one that we had, the last future, it was talking about how Bitcoin fell quite a bit prior to that coming to an end. And now we're starting to see that the futures just got released. This is the biggest hype. And now we're seeing the price drop once again. So a lot of people are calling this deliberate manipulation. They say the figures thus support the hypothesis that Bitcoin price is manipulated in advance of CME settlement. However, the figures do not say anything about deliberate manipulation or, of example, only a result of investor strategy and hedging. So, taking this into knowledge, to be really quick before we jump into the charting, a lot of the news comes out that we're seeing manipulation, but I find it very coincidental that at the same time this comes, we've been preparing and waiting for some sort of major volume spike to come into the market. And of course, the past, couple of days, we were waiting, getting really close to that breakout point. We were calling it, I said like the 19th or the 18th, and we broke like the 22nd, so literally 3 days off, and then we broke with major volume. So it's very interesting to see that a lot of these articles come out in regards to placing whatever news is happening at the moment to the current analysis. I don't think there's a relation between the price, the CMEs, the futures. It's possible, but with the current chartings right here, it's very interesting to see that those have any correlation. Doesn't necessarily mean causation has taken place. So very interesting. Otherwise, let's jump into the market cap. You'll notice majority of the cryptos are up. You can see that the current 24-hour volume has pretty much died off completely. From over 100 billion yesterday, we're now at 59 billion. We've seen an extreme amount of depreciation within the volume. And with that being said, we've seen just pretty much the sideways movement, no real price action right now, just kind of staying tight as to where we fell down to. And you'll notice actually practically every single cryptocurrency has been following where Bitcoin has been taking it, which is awesome to see that we're now like synced up with these current prices here. So very interesting. Majority of the coins are consolidating back up. Stellar, I know, is taking the biggest leap of faith and starting to head back to higher levels. So that's nice to see that that cryptocurrency is kind of doing its own, maneuver back to levels as high as it was. Obviously, it still's got some ways to go, but for the most part, it is, on its own path, while all the other cryptos are kind of intertwined right now with Bitcoin. So that's unfortunate. But I do want to go into the technical analysis and charting and discuss what exactly it is that's going on here and where I pretty much think the other coins are going to. So this is actually my second time remaking this video. I watched over my first one and I wasn't necessarily a fan of the technical analysis that I was giving you. I felt like I could have been I was kind of a little biased and I wanted to change up my analysis here. So looking at the coin, we're hitting some sort of stable support, but I think this is the biggest giveaway, is looking at our weekly on Bitcoin right now. So you'll notice this is pretty much the biggest and strongest support that I have right here. Now, watching other technical analysts, they are kind of bearish on the crypto right now. So given that analysis and given that we did break out of a major symmetrical triangle, which has taken months on months to complete, I'm going to unfortunately play a bearish outlook too. Now, we unfortunately broke out of a symmetrical triangle to the downtrend. If we broke bullish and we broke to the upside, we could have easily called major moves as high as potentially $13,000 to $14,000. And you can see how easily this, symmetrical triangle was presented, this bull flag, whatever you want to call it. Basically, this pennant flag was a very easy, thing to trace. This is almost textbook. Unfortunately, breaking bearish was harder to call, but now in regards to picking out where the low of the low could be with this coin before we see any sort of long-term uptrend, there's a couple of key points we have to pay attention to. Obviously, number one would be that we're now finally at 48 on the RSI from a high of 61. The other thing to notice is, once again, we are still above our high-low MMA. And this is, I think, is the biggest one right here, the biggest giveaway. Unfortunately, the fact that we are still quite a whiles away from here, trading at 83.30, the high-low MMA, just the rock bottom neutral support is 7,144. So I don't want to play any bearish outlook on you guys, but there is still quite a bit of gap between us falling lower. So we could potentially see in the next coming weeks bearish approaches and a more bearish look. There is, I'd say, about halfway to the drop that we've seen right now. And it kind of makes sense if you go onto something called a price range and you open the mouth to the cap right here, which is about, I would say, a 45% leap. And then we open this up right here. We do another one at around 45% from the endpoint of here to about 45. I mean, this is pretty big in my opinion. I think it's a little bit lower right here. We could even start it a little bit, farther. But you can see for the most part, these do indicate levels to drop lower than where we're currently trading at. So that is another reason why I think we're going to head lower. I don't think this is something that's going to, stay at these prices. I know there are some other analysts that use different types of, trend lines and things of that nature. But for the most part, I think what I'm using right now is doing quite well. Other people can use, shifts and things like that. Oh, I'm getting a call. Interesting. But they can use Fibonacci retracement. They can put it right here. But I don't know. I don't necessarily consider this to be something of meaningful value. I guess you could use it. I'm not a huge fan. From right here to where we're at right now, it's a possibility. And you can see we're falling down to right here, noticing this is where the kind of support seems to be. And then the lowest one goes all the way down to about right here, which is similar to that 40% leap that we did have. So basically you just started off at the price that we started, the highest, and then you can drag it down to where the pinpoint the breakout is. And you can see potential support for us breaking out to the upside and then the lows falling down. So honestly, it does open up some doors. It's easy to see that right now we're currently trending at this support right here. This is about 1.08, which is pretty much the lowest. So it called that, which is interesting, to the downside. Now we could go lower to about right here, which seems to be about that 40% that I was talking about. But otherwise, I do think we are starting to head down, and conservatively approaching this, I do think the bottom would be at around $7,000. So if you wanted to buy back in, you bought at these levels and you have yet to sell, you want to kind of average out, you could buy in at these levels as well as low as 7,000 before we start to see any sort of upside. But I don't think this bear market is just over yet, so I would be a little more patient. Litecoin too. Litecoin's pretty much hanging on right here, but this coin looks better than the other cryptos. I mean, the fact that on the weekly, this is where we're going to have to start to really pay attention to. The fact that we are below the high-low MMA is great news. We are seeing resistance. We have seen a lot of resistance. We were breaking into the uptrend and immediately retraced. We could not close that candle above here, which is theoretically a bearish sign, this wick right here on the weekly. So that's something we should have been paying attention to. But to not be able to break through here, it shows a lot of resistance at its high-low MMA, and we immediately got rejected and came back down to this descending wedge right here. So that's unfortunate. We look better on Litecoin's weekly than we do Bitcoin, but for the most part, Bitcoin is going to be the one crypto that we're going to have to, pay close attention to and really follow, due to the fact that this is not yet nearing or testing its weekly high-low MMA. Come for Ethereum. Ethereum, I think, is also below its weekly. So all these other cryptocurrencies, actually, no, I lied. I think, where is... Yes, okay, so Ethereum is also below its weekly as well. You can see right here, has yet to retest here. So a lot of the cryptos in terms of the weekly look great, except for Bitcoin. And as we know, Bitcoin is the leading factor in where these prices are going to go. Even for, XLM doesn't even have a daily high low or a weekly high low MMA. It's really just Bitcoin that we're paying attention to. Bitcoin, you can see with its break, its downside break to the downside, it's influenced all the other cryptos, and the fact that we still have levels as low as $7,000 to pull down to, I'd still be quite bearish on the market until we see some sort of confirmation that we're going to start to head back upwards. But for the most part, I still am kind of bearish, even if we are overbought right now, or oversold for that matter. I do think there are lower levels to be at ahead. Otherwise, guys, that's going to sum up today's video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode. Peace.